Hello, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be looking at isolating the y variable in an equation so that you can enter an equation into your TI-84 graphing calculator to graph it. The reason we have to isolate the y variable comes from this screen right on the title page here. In order to graph a function in your calculator, you have to have the equation in the form y equals. The calculator doesn't allow any other forms of equations to be typed in. So let's look at a couple of examples. So to put it in, it must look like y equals something. Now the something could be very simple, like a single number, or very complex with lots of variables and different operations. It's fine as long as the equation says y equals. So for the first example, we want to graph this function. As is, we cannot type this equation into our calculator because it doesn't say y equals. The y is kind of buried in the midst of all this other stuff happening. As a general rule, you want to make the y term positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this term, this 2y, negative 2y, and I'm going to move it to the other side of the equation. And it's important to note that when you move a mathematical term to the other side of an equation, its sign changes. So what's left on the left-hand side is 3x plus 5. Those are both untouched. And then over here we get 2y. We're getting close to be able to type this in. We want it to say y equals. It's positive at least, but it still says 2y equals. So we need to get rid of this 2. Right now this says 2 multiplied by y. So to get rid of a times 2 or multiplied by 2, we do the opposite thing. So we divide by 2. But whatever you do to one side of an equation, you have to do to the other. So I need to divide this whole side by 2. What happens on the right-hand side is these 2's cancel, leaving me with y. And I'm going to rewrite this weird fraction in a way that will make it happier on my calculator. My calculator doesn't like complex fractions like this, but I want to tell it take this whole top and divide it by 2. And I'm going to do that with brackets. So I'm going to put the top of that fraction in brackets, 3x plus 5. I'm going to end the bracket, and then I'm going to say divide by 2. Now you might notice technically this does not say y equals, it says equals y. That's quite alright, as if you've got the y isolated, meaning by itself on one side of the equation, you can write it on either side. That is irrelevant. So we've got this equation, y equals, in brackets, 3x plus 5 divided by 2. So I'm going to go to my calculator, I'm going to press y equals, and I'm going to type in bracket 3x plus 5 end bracket divided by 2. And when I hit graph, there's my graph. Okay, let's try that with another example. This example is a little different. You have things on both sides of the equation. Y is still not isolated. We want to isolate y. Now my y term is already positive. I like that because I want it to be positive y equals when we're all done. So I'm going to leave this term where it is. I'm going to take the 4x term and I'm going to move it over to the other side. Again, whenever you move a term, a mathematical term, to the other side of an equation, you change its sign. So what I'm going to have over here is 12 minus, the 12 is still just sitting there, 12 minus 4x. Now the y is getting closer to being isolated, but we've still got to multiply by 5. So like the last example, to get rid of multiply by 5, I'm going to divide by 5. Whatever I do to one side of an equation, I have to do to the other. I need to divide by 5. These cancel, leaving me with y equals. And again, I'm going to write this in a more calculator-friendly way. I'm going to put the top of that fraction in brackets, 12 minus 4x. And then divide it by 5. And that's what I'm going to enter into my calculator. I'm not even going to clear out the last example. I'm just going to go down to y2 and show you we can put open bracket. Oops, I got one extra there. 12 minus 4x and bracket, and then divided by 5. Notice the calculator is divided by symbol is just a slash as opposed to the divided by symbol you see on the key. Don't let that throw you off. Hit graph, and we should see our second line on there. And that is a quick look at how you isolate the y variable in order to graph the function. You shouldn't have to do anything too crazy algebraically in this course, just a couple of steps to get the y variable all on its own. Thanks for watching.